And here is the Writer's Almanac for Friday. It's the 31st of May, 2019. It's the birthday of Walt Whitman, born in West Hills, Long Island, New York, 1819. Worked as a typesetter in a print shop. He was a teacher, a journalist, newspaper editor, worked as a carpenter, which was his father's trade, and he was living with his mother in Brooklyn when he read an essay by Ralph Waldo Emerson, the poet, which said the new United States needed a poet to capture its spirit, and the young Whitman decided he was that poet. He later said, "I was simmering, simmering, simmering. Emerson brought me to a boil." He began work on his collection Leaves of Grass, writing an American epic celebrating the common man, did most of the typesetting for the book himself, made sure the edition would fit in a pocket, paid for the publication of 795 copies out of his own pocket. He was 37 years old. At the beginning, Whitman was criticized for being openly erotic. One reviewer called the book a mass of stupid filth. He kept expanding Leaves of Grass. 146 poems were added for the third edition. Thoreau did not care for his poetry, neither did Willa Cather. She referred to Whitman as that dirty old man. But Ralph Waldo Emerson praised him as the most extraordinary piece of wit and wisdom America has yet contributed. Walt Whitman left New York when his brother was wounded in the Civil War. He walked all the way to Virginia and to Washington, D.C. to serve as a volunteer hospital nurse. And though he was unconventional in his manners and his clothing, Whitman found work as a clerk in the Department of the Interior until one of the brass discovered that he was the man who had written Leaves of Grass, and he was fired. But a friend of Whitman's arranged for him to be transferred to the Attorney General's office, and the friend wrote a pamphlet entitled The Good Gray Poet, which praised Whitman's nobleness of character. And the pamphlet helped to change the average reader's perception of Walt Whitman. Instead of a bawdy nonconformist, he became the good gray poet, the wise old man. He spent the last 20 years of his life revising, expanding Leaves of Grass. The eighth and final edition came out in 1891. Whitman said it was at last complete after 33 years of hackling at it, all times and moods of my life, fair weather and foul, all parts of the land, and peace and war, young and old. It was on this day George Washington signed into law the Copyright Act of 1790, which granted copyrights to American citizens' books, maps, and charts for a term of 14 years. It could be extended by another 14 if the author were still living. It was on this day, 1669, Samuel Pepys wrote in his diary for the last time. He'd kept it for 10 years, ended it because he thought he was going blind. His eyesight got better after a few months. He lived another 33 years, but he never wrote in the diary again. Here's a poem for today, a poem by Walt Whitman, Out of the Rolling Ocean, the Crowd. Out of the rolling ocean, the crowd, came a drop gently to me, whispering, I love you, before long I die. I have traveled a long way merely to look on you, to touch you, for I could not die till I once looked on you, for I feared I might afterward lose you. Now we have met, we have looked, we are safe. Return in peace to the ocean, my love. I, too, am part of that ocean, my love. We are not so much separated. Behold the great rondure, the cohesion of all, how perfect. But as for me, for you, the irresistible sea is to separate us. As for an hour, carrying us diverse, yet cannot carry us diverse forever. Be not impatient, a little space. Know you, I salute the air, the ocean, and the land, every day at sundown, for your dear sake, my love. Walt Whitman's poem, Out of the Rolling Ocean, the Crowd. And that's the Writer's Almanac for Friday, May the 31st, 2019. Be well, do good work, and keep in touch.